Thank you all so much for being here to show your support in this race. I know you're here for the very same reason that I'm standing in the back of this pickup truck right now. You're here because you want to make sure that the people of Texas have their voices restored to the Texas Capitol, and it's been a long, long time since their voices have been heard there. You may know there have been a number of issues already being talked about in this race. This morning, we had a press conference talking about making sure that every 4-year-old in Texas has access to good, high-quality pre-kindergarten programs in this state. And at the same time that we've been talking about that, Greg Abbott's been saying that that would be a waste. He's called the education of every 4-year-old in this state a waste, in spite of what we know is so important about making sure that every child starts in a great place. We also, a few weeks ago, did a lot of talking about equal pay. And you may know that Greg Abbott ultimately finally came out through a surrogate and said if he were governor, he would veto an equal pay for equal work bill if it landed on his desk. And in support of him, he had a couple of Republican red state women who came out to speak on his behalf. And first of all, let me tell you, I'll put the blue state women next to the red state women any day of the week. One of whom said that the reason women weren't paid equally to men was because they just needed to become better negotiators. And one of whom said women were just too busy to make sure that they were fighting for equal pay. Well, I've got news for people who believe, like Greg Abbott does, that our children don't deserve a chance and that women don't deserve our respect. We are not too busy to make sure that we are working on behalf of the priorities of the people in this state. We are not too busy to make sure that we draw down $100 billion in Medicaid money over the next 10 years. We are not too busy to make sure that folks across this state are paid what they deserve for a hard day's work. We are not too busy to make sure that we are investing in our education system so that every child in Texas has an opportunity to be part of the great Texas promise. We are not too busy to make sure that our students have access to higher education through financial aid and other support to make sure that their dreams, like my dreams, came true. We will not be too busy to make sure that every freedom in this state is respected, not just a few freedoms for a certain few people, right? And we are not going to be too busy to do all of the hard work that it's going to take over the next 7 months. We're not going to be too busy to call our neighbors and to knock on doors. We're not going to be too busy, I hope, to write checks when they need to be written. We're not going to be too busy to make sure that every voter in this state knows what's at stake in this election and that there is a very clear difference between the two candidates that they'll be voting on November the 4th. And because we're not too busy, we will, on November the 4th, win this election and show that we can elect a governor who will never be too busy to make sure that the people she represents are the most powerful voices in that Texas Capitol year after year after year. God bless you all, and God bless Texas.